maybe you were the boogeyman. No, you're just a man who's about to stop breathing.
Hello, everybody. I'm John.
I'm Justin.
And welcome to
Gore
Goblins, the show where we talk about some of our favorite horror movies that we love,
Some we don't.
and some we've never heard of. And today is a very special episode where we finally get to put the Halloween franchise to rest.
The thing that started it all ends us. No, it doesn't.
2022's Halloween Ends. Now, this movie is something else. I have a lot to say about it.
We both do.
Justin has a lot to say about it as well. So it'll be fun to talk about it. Before we get into anything with this, though,
This is gonna be long.
it's gonna be a long
warned.
one. I want to get my sidetrack stuff out of the way, and I also want to get the plot out of the way before we talk about how we feel about it and everything, because there's a lot of moving parts with this movie.
I'll do the plot.
So we'll do the plot together. You mean? Because this is a couple buddy show, couple of buddies.
I'll throw something at you.
But yeah, sidetrack. I saw Barbarian over the weekend, and it was pretty good. We're gonna cover it eventually. Unfortunately, that movie has not gotten a physical release for some reason because Disney sucks. But that's okay. It's still a good movie. It's still on HBO Max, so it hasn't been deleted forever yet. But it's pretty good. If you like some crazy shit, you'll love it. Unfortunately, I went into it already knowing what it was, but I still enjoyed it quite a bit. Justin Long's great in it. Richard Brake is in it, surprisingly. It's a good movie. I recommend it completely. It's a lot of fun. I gave it 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, so that's how you know that it's pretty all right, I would say. That's what I did over the weekend. I don't know what Justin did. What'd you do, Justin?
Being addicted to Warframe.
That's worse. Anyway, so
It is when you put money into it too.
all right, buddy. Anyway, so that's the end of the sidetrack. So before there's a lot going on with this movie. So before
A lot.
we go into the production and go into how we feel about it and all that stuff, I think it's best if we just
Thinking about this movie makes my head feel like it's splitting.
why?
I don't know why.
That's weird.
I'm just. I want to understand fully what their thought process was.
Well, they wanted to do something different.
I get that, but
That's all it boils down to.
did they forget what they're trying to do with these movies?
Well, that's the thing is, what were they trying to do with these movies? Because this movie made me like Halloween Kills less. So, like I don't know.
Look, bottom line for this, I do not hate this movie.
Yeah.
I'm not one of the crybaby hardcore fanboys that is like, oh, this has ruined the franchise, blah, blah, blah.
No.
What a bad movie. No.
No.
I guess it's like I said another time before, it suffers from Season of the Witch syndrome, I guess.
Well,
if you look at it as itself, it's fine. But if you kind of look at it as a Halloween movie, you kind of are like, is it though?
I think it still works as a Halloween movie, and I'll get into that. I just think that it has the unfortunate... unfortunately, it follows Halloween Kills, which, given how they set things up in Halloween Kills, I don't think it meshes the way they wanted it to. And I know in the commentary for Halloween Kills, I don't remember if I mentioned it on the episode, but David Gordon Green was talking about how because of the extended break with COVID, they had time to kind of think about what they really wanted to do with Halloween Ends. And that's why it became what it became. Which, again, I like this movie more than I did the first time I saw it. But, and I know I said we were going to go into the plot first. I lied. But I like it more than I did the first time I watched it. But it's just that I don't... If I watch it outside of the context of the first two movies, it's good. If I watch it within the context of just Halloween 2018, it's still good. But when I watch it remembering what they set up with kills, I don't like it. I don't like it as much because I think this is a better movie than Kills, but as far as Halloween goes, it's just weird that they chose to do it now. I think if you would just, I'll talk about how I think it would have worked better after we get into the plot and everything, because I got some ideas. But before we get into all that, let's get into the plot, shall we, Justin? Let's talk about how this movie starts. And it starts
A year later.
in 2019. And it's immediately, so this is basically Metal Gear Solid 2. I mean, even because all the marketing made it seem like it was going to be just a regular old Halloween movie, just like all the marketing for Metal Gear Solid 2 made you think it was just going to be Metal Gear. You're going to play a Snake the whole time. And even on the fucking packaging for the Blu-ray, it's still set up like a Halloween movie, not like what it actually is, which I got to admire the balls, but that's why a lot of people got pissed off, just like with Metal Gear Solid 2. A lot of people didn't like that, but over the years, people have come to appreciate it as a pretty solid entry in the franchise.
Well, that's just because they can't hop off of Kojima's dick.
Well, that's not no. No.
That's part of it for some.
There were a
people.
lot of people that did not like Metal Gear Solid 2
Well, I
when
know
it came
that.
out. Like, they were like mad. They felt like they were lied to. They felt like I've read some contemporary reviews that were pretty upset, or some old reviews that were pretty upset. But yeah, movie starts 1 year later, and immediately we're introduced to a new character. And what's his name, Justin?
Corey.
Corey what?
I don't remember.
Corey Cunningham. That's important. I'll get back to that later. But yeah, immediately introduced to a new character, and he shows up to this very expensive-looking house in Haddonfield on Halloween night to babysit a little fucking shit of a kid named Jeremy. Fuck this kid. I hate him.
Yeah. And people named Jeremy.
And no, I got a buddy named Jeremy. He's all right. But he's a little piece of shit. I hate him. And his mom and dad are gonna go to a costume party
Down the street.
down the street. Apparently, yeah.
And they need a babysitter to be down the street.
Yeah, well, he's a little shit kid. They know that. So he goes to babysit, and we get a little jump scare because this is a Blumhouse film. You gotta have those. And I know it sounds like I'm already tired of this, but I do actually like this movie. We'll get to it. He scares his mom. The parents leave. And Jeremy, initially...
First, the mom explains how the kid's been all scared because of past events, so he's scared of the dark. He's been wet in the bed. That's why they want Corey to babysit him while they're down the street.
And initially, Jeremy doesn't seem like a bad kid until...
he doesn't seem like he's scared, really, either.
Until they're watching John Carpenter's The Thing, which is an obvious callback to Halloween 78, where Laurie and Lindsay are watching The Thing from Another World on the TV. So it's a callback to that, and it's the best part of the movie. One of the best parts of the movie. One of the parts of the movie that sticks in my mind because this is the first horror thing that I ever saw as a child. I was like 4, and it's the scene where they're trying to revive. What's his name? I can't remember the character's name, but they're trying to revive him, and then the dude's chest opens up and bites the doctor's arms off, and then his head starts stretching off of him, and it looks gross and gory. That's the first thing I ever saw, and my little 4-year-old brain didn't know how to interpret it. So the way I remember it when I was 4 is completely different from how it looks when I watch it now. But my little brain couldn't interpret it properly. And it's kind of funny to me that's the scene that they show in this movie. I think it's really funny. It's like they made it for me. But Jeremy's obviously getting traumatized by what he's seeing, and Corey kind of makes fun of him, and then Jeremy turns into the shittiest little kid you've ever met. And he's like, "Oh, fucking! I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anybody. I'm not even scared of Michael Myers. He kills babysitters, not kids. No, he kills kids. I'm gonna be honest. He kills kids. Did he not? Did he not know about? I mean, the kid's death would have had to have been reported, right? Like when he broke that kid's neck in the first movie in 2018.
I think some other kills overshadowed that.
Yeah, but like, he killed him. He killed a kid. You think that would still be like a thing to talk about? But whatever. He's acting like a little shit, and then like he starts making fun of Corey, which is a running theme in this movie, and then Corey kind of storms off to go get some milk, I think, because he looks at Heineken and he's like, nah, and then he gets milk instead. And then he hears a noise, and I think Jeremy screams, right? Like he makes like a little scream or something. And then, so Corey's like, Jeremy, what the fuck? And, Jeremy doesn't answer him because Jeremy's, spoiler alert, trying to play a prank on him. And
as one does.
As a little shit kid does. And eventually, Corey goes up the steps of this very giant house.
3 flights of steps?
Yeah, there's a lot of stairs in this house, let me tell you. And as he's going up the steps, he finds a knife. He picks it up, and he goes into, like, this kind of attic. I think it's just, like, an extra room upstairs. I don't think it's really an attic. But he goes in that room, and then Jeremy locks him in there, and he just starts, like, being he's such a fucking little... I hate this kid. I don't like this kid at all. He's such an asshole. He's, like, making fun of him and saying, you think Michael Myers gonna get you? And I'm just like, man, I remember when I watched it, I was like, man, I hope this kid dies. And my wish was granted, because what ends up happening is Corey, as Jeremy's parents are getting home, Corey kicks the door open, and it hits Jeremy in the face, and he flies over the fucking banister and just fucking face plants.
No. He lands on his knees. His back goes backwards, and then he folds forward and slams his face on the floor.
Yeah, he dies hard. And then the parents see that.
You thought Gwen dying in Amazing Spider-Man 2 was bad?
Well, that just looks fake. I don't know. It's the way they shot that.
You could see her head bounce on the floor.
It made me laugh a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. When I saw it, I was like, oh, she's dead. Okay,
no.
Like that's what happened. That was my exact reaction. But yeah, Jeremy fucking dies, a brutal death, and I clapped, but I didn't clap. But the parents are understandably upset, and then that leads us into the title card as the iconic Halloween theme song plays. By the way, I have to mention that the font choice for this film is the same font from Halloween 3, which is in line with Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, borrowing the font from Halloween 1 and Halloween 2, respectively. So this is borrowing the font from Halloween 3. That should be your first clue to know that something's going to be a little different with this one.
Yeah, the first time I saw it, that triggered something in my head. I was like, oh, no.
And so the pumpkins in this one, in this intro, it's jack-o'-lanterns growing inside of jack-o'-lanterns and destroying the jack-o'-lanterns that they grew inside of. And then it ends. It does that a few times, and it ends with like a blank pumpkin splitting open, and it looks like you're in its fucking guts. You're in its fucking gutty guts. And that's how the movie starts. And to me and Justin were talking about it. To me, I think that means something about how evil kind of grows inside of you and then like destroys the old you, and it's just a cycle that keeps happening because it's a new pumpkin every time. That could also talk about like the cycles of abuse and the cycles of trauma being passed down from generation to generation. Kind of like how Laurie did with Karen, and how Karen tried not to do that with Allison. Like in the older movies. So that's trauma seems to be a pretty central theme with this new trilogy. But that's besides the point. That's what I think it means. I'm sure there's a number of different things it could mean. They didn't really talk about it in the commentary, surprisingly. But anyway, that happens. And then we get to see how Laurie is faring 4 years later, after 2018 and Kills. Yeah. And we're now 4 years later. And Laurie is writing a book about her life and about her struggles with trauma and Michael and all that fun shit. And, we get some flashbacks to, I'm yawning. We get some flashbacks to Halloween, all the Halloween movies in this franchise pretty much, and as she's kind of recounting the story, and then what happens after that, Justin? I get, you know me, I get hazy on the details. If you don't remember, I swear to God, I'm gonna throw something. He doesn't remember.
She was writing the book.
He doesn't remember, folks. Worst podcast on the internet.
God damn it! How do I not remember? I just couldn't stop thinking the entire movie. Now I'm not remembering what I'm supposed to remember.
Yeah.
Doesn't it show Corey again?
I feel like yeah, because while she's talking about like what Michael has done to the city of Haddonfield, and how like you see Oscar's mom hanged herself dressed in the same outfit as her son when he got killed. You see a couple that got executed in their car, and a cop clumsily asks, "Do you think it's Michael?" And then Detective Frank or whatever is just like, "Nah, Michael doesn't use guns, you fucking idiot." and then part of that montage is Laurie seeing Corey, and then and then we get more Corey. A lot of this movie is Corey. I gotta just say that up front. A lot of this is Corey. We get him riding around town, and he goes to this. I think he goes. Does he go to his job first, or does he go to his to get his little drink first? I don't remember which one of those happens first. I think he goes to get his drink first. I don't remember. It's a little hazy, but
He goes to work first.
he goes to work. That's what he does
and then
first.
They're like, "Oh, you're late again," because he has to ride his bike all the way there.
Yeah, but
He works at a scrapyard repairing cars and doing junk shit, whatever. So then his dad is the boss of that place. He
his
gives
stepdad. Yeah.
stepdad, whatever, gives him a motorcycle. So it's like, "Here, I don't need it anymore. I'm too fat to ride it, so you can have it."
He is a large man.
And
yes.
Corey's like, "Cool, thanks." And the stepdad is it his stepdad?
Yeah, it's a stepdad.
Okay, whatever. So his stepdad's one of the only supportive people in the movie, aside from Allison.
Yeah.
Because like he never really says anything bad to him or
No.
thinks less of him because of what happened.
No. But there's, I mean, his mom doesn't either, but his mom's
His
like
mom's got other issues.
overbearing as shit. So we have that, and then
Corey goes to the store to get some fucking milk.
yeah, you're kind of introduced to different aspects of his life, and then he goes to get some milk. He gets his milk, and as he's coming out of the store, first of all, the fucking store owner is kind of a bitch. She's kind of like, it reminded me of the opening of Menace to Society, which if you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. But she was just kind of rushing him out. He buys the drink, and it's this little chocolate milk, and now I want chocolate milk, I'm gonna be honest. But he gets the chocolate milk, and then he goes outside, and then these fucking band kids show up, and one of them's like, just like this, he's like a stereotypical like New York bully, and then the other guy is this fucking shithead with a mullet and bleached eyebrows, like, it's not a good look, bro. And then there's some black girl, and then Margot is the only name I remember because she's the nice one.
Margot, Billy.
Billy, that's the name.
I don't remember the main kid's name.
I don't either. Billy was the dude with the bleached eyebrows?
Yeah.
What a dork. Anyway, so yeah, Margot's the one I remember because she's the one that kept trying to be like, maybe we're going too far, guys. Just leave him alone. Leave him alone. And then, they kept messing with him.
Now, let me just say, if you're being bullied by band kids, you know your life's in a bad spot.
Yeah, but this is a different breed of band kids.
No,
These
no,
aren't
no,
like
no.
the band kids
They
we
were.
went to school with.
Look at them. You saw what they looked
Yeah,
like. They're
but,
not
like,
popular.
I didn't see a band kid with bleached eyebrows, bro. I'm gonna be honest. This is like Midwestern hick band kids. This is a different breed. Different breed, all right?
No offense to anyone who was in band in school. I was too,
I believe it.
until I quit.
I can see it. Yeah, well, I know a lot of people that were in band. I almost did it. I'm glad I didn't. But anyway, Corey's just trying to hang out, drink his little chalky milk, and he rode his bike home. Or he rode his bike to the store.
Yeah.
And then these kids ask Corey if he can buy them some beer because they've been practicing for the show.
They've been working so hard.
They've been working so fucking hard. And then Corey's like, no, like for a very good reason.
Like a reasonable adult,
It's
you know.
a very reasonable. There's a very good reason for him to say no. A very good reason. And then the fucking bleached eyebrows is like, oh, you're that guy that killed that fucking kid, huh? You fucking psycho. And then the main kid starts calling him a pedophile, which I don't think tracks, but whatever. and then Corey gets so mad he fucking grips that bottle with that gorilla grip and he breaks it. And then it fucking breaks and he
glass gets in his hand.
well, not yet. Glass gets in his hand because old boy pushes him into the ice box, and then he lands on the fucking busted bottom of it.
It's like, you see that? He threw his milk at me.
And then that's a rough scene to watch where he pulls the glass out of his hand. But Lori shows up and saves the day because it's a small town, I guess. And Lori shows up and she's like, "Hey, fuck off." Basically, is what she says. And then you know they're like, oh, fucking Laurie Strode, it's a freak show meets a psycho. And they're so proud of themselves. And then they go into the store and I don't know, jerk each other off or whatever. But then Laurie goes up to Corey. Their names rhyme. That's gonna be fun to say. Laurie goes up to Corey and she's all like, "Hey yo, dab me up. I'm gonna help you."
Which one are you, the freak show or the psycho?
Yeah, and then they hang out for a bit.
And she's like, "You want me to do it or you want to do it?"
And then she pulls out a fucking switchblade.
Yo, Lori's the one.
Laurie doesn't fuck around, man. So then Corey like looks at her like, "Are we gonna kill him?" And then she points at the tire. He's like, "Oh, okay." So
got
they
it.
punch a tire in main little shit kid's dad's car, because of course he doesn't have a car. He's a fucking kid. But then he does his thing, and then they drive off into the sunset, and Laurie takes Corey to the doctor where Allison works as a nurse. By the way, Allison's living with Laurie now since both of her parents are dead. And they seem to be having a good old time, fun old time together. Allison works at a doctor's office where there's a slutty nurse that sleeps her way to the top. Gotta love it. And she's she's just kind of working. She sees Corey instantly. You can tell she's like, "Ooh, I like this one." And then Laurie's like, "Yeah, he's got a cut hand. You got to help him." And then Allison's like, "I got you." So then they go inside of the doctor, and then the doctor's
They go inside the doctor's office, not inside the doctor.
No, they go inside of the doctor.
No, they don't.
And then he's pulling glass out of his hand, and then
Corey glances at Allison.
He keeps looking at Allison.
And then
I can't
the doctor's
blame
like,
him.
"She's cute, right?"
And then Corey's like, "Yeah, I guess." And then like he does something to Corey's hand, and Corey freaks out and like, because it
knocks
hurts,
everything down.
knocks everything down, and then
the doctor's like, "What the fuck, Allison?"
Yeah, the doctor
you
blames
stupid bitch.
Allison for some reason. He blames Allison like a piece of shit because he is a piece of shit.
He hates Allison because she won't sleep with him.
Yeah, because
that's
Allison
it.
has ethics and morals, I guess. I don't know. Also, he's Dr. Wrinkledick. Who would want to fuck him? That's his real name, Dr. Wrinkledick. But that's besides the point. Because Corey and Allison get to talking. They have a lively discussion about, I don't remember, but they start talking, and like Allison mentions something about her car.
Because we forgot the part where that cop pulls her
getting
over.
a rattle. Yeah, Josh pulls her over, and Josh pulls her over, and he's like, "Oh, you're guilty of being the cutest girl I know." and then Allison's like, "Shut the fuck up, Doug." And then Doug's like, "Oh, fucking actually, your muffler's fucked up, bitch." And then he walks away.
Why don't you give me a call sometime?
Like, yeah. Then he's like, "Give me a call." And then he drives away. And so that sets that up. And then she mentions it to Corey. And then Corey's like, "Oh, it's probably just your muffler. I can fix it." And he like pushes his glasses up because he's a fucking nerd. And then, Lori, Allison's like, "Okay." And then they go outside. And then Allison like starts like really just heavily flirting with Corey. Like heavily. Like Corey's like
she's like not gonna take no for an answer.
Absolutely not. Why can't I find a woman like that? But anyway, she's like, "Oh, why does the bike have a kickstand? Because it's too tired." Hee hee. And then Corey's like, "Oh, and then it's real awkward," which it's cute, whatever. So then Allison and Corey are talking, and Corey's like, "Hey, you can have the bike. I got a motorcycle." And she's like, "Oh, a motorcycle. Teach me to ride it sometime."
I'll teach you.
And I'm just like, "Oh my god, this dude's about to fumble the biggest bag," and so like he's like, He's like, yeah. Then Allison's like, we should do something sometime. And then he's like, what, like together? And she's like, yeah. It's like both of us, you know?
Well, because she has that Halloween party that she's supposed to go to
Yeah.
that she doesn't want to go to.
'Cause
But
that
then
was
she suddenly
established-
wants to go to it when Corey shows up.
Because that was established from the slutty nurse that sleeps her way to the top, being like, "Oh, fucking, you gonna come to the costume party? You got a little cat mask." And Allison's like, "Fuck you." And then that's how that goes. And then but then she sees Corey and she's like, "You know what? I think I will go." So then we get some stuff with Lori and Allison at home. And Lindsay's there too. She's doing tarot cards on fucking Allison, and she's like, "Hey, you got death. That doesn't mean anything bad. That just means a period of your life is ending and a new one is beginning." And that's not only a theme for this character, but also for the franchise as a whole at this point.
Yep.
So. And then Lori says a very memorable line about grief and baring your tits to it and flipping it off or something. I don't remember. It'll probably be at the beginning of the episode. But that's besides the point, because then we get to see Corey's home life. His stepdad and his mom's eating there and drinking milk with an unhealthy amount of spaghetti sauce on the rim of the glass, and she's you can already tell she's overbearing and overprotective, and.
What's she doing? Just fucking interrogating Corey? Like, where were you? Why didn't you call? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, there's
Who
that.
the fuck are you texting?
And then, he starts texting Allison, and she's like, "Who is that? What is going on?" And then Corey's like, "Shut up!" And then, he doesn't say that. He doesn't talk to his mom like that. But then, Corey's like texting Allison about how he needs to find a costume for the thing, for the party. And Allison's like, "I can help you with that." And then, eventually they go to the party. I don't remember what happens in between that. I'll probably remember it later, and then we'll get to it. But whatever. They go to the party. This is like, not everything's gonna be here, but whatever. If you've put up with us for this long, you expect it. Anyway.
Plus, this is a movie you really got to watch for yourself.
Yeah, all of them are, honestly. Even if we spoil them, watch them anyway. Give them money, so that way we can keep getting horror movies. Because horror movies are great. I like them. Anyway, so then they go to the party, and we get a nice little cameo from Nick Castle, the original Shape, in his first ever speaking role, by the way. Motherfucker has been fucking in bit parts in a bunch of movies, but this is the first time he's ever spoken on camera, and he quotes Linda from Halloween saying, "See anything you like?" And then he flashes him, and he's got like organs and shit. It's a costume. It's whatever. And he's talking to Corey with his little scarecrow mask on. Corey does a little head tilt. Cute little reference, gotta love it.
And then Allison's like, "Vodka and soda, please, Lindsay."
And then
We're about to make like Andrew WK and party hard.
All right, buddy. Anyway, so then the other nurse is there, and she's like, "She's dating Corey Cunningham, that psycho that killed that fucking kid." And
that's how that woman talks.
And then Lindsay's just like, "I don't listen to her. She's
That's
a slut.
you. This is
She's a slut. Don't listen to her." And so then Allison and Corey dance. Allison's doing her little 50s go-go shit. Gotta love it. She kind of does the little arm flappy dance a little bit like, what's her name in Phantom of the Paradise? Like that too. And so, she's doing her thing. And then Corey's like, you can tell he's like kind of trying to like loosen up a bit. And this is like intercut with shots of them in a photo booth having a good time. And at one point, Corey takes his sweater off and his mask off, and then like he does this weird thing where he gets on his knees in front of Allison and keeps dancing. Then he falls to the floor, and I'm like, "Oh fuck, he's having a seizure," but he's not. He's just having a good time. God, we love to see a sad boy winning, and he's having a good time. Allison starts doing this weird shit to his face, which is a foreshadowing something that happens very late in the movie. I'll remind you of it. But she's doing her little thingy, and then, eventually Corey's like, haha, fun, and then he gets up, and then he goes to the bar, and he asks for a beer, and...
Guess who's there?
And because this is the smallest fucking town in the world, he sees the mom, Jeremy's mom, and she doesn't have it going on, because she's really sad.
"Oh, you having fun?"
"Oh, you having fun? I'm not over my son's death.
"I have to wake up every day and live with it."
It's crazy that Lori's daughter died 4 years ago and she's over it. But my son, my little shithead of a son fucking died 4 years ago, and I hate you, and that's what happens. And then she like starts yelling at him, and then Corey gets like upset and leaves, and then Allison follows him, and Allison's like, Corey, I get it, like I know what it's like to be looked at and like to be judged, and people think they know you but they don't. And then Corey, he's just like me, for real, because he's like, you're not gonna fix me, you can't help me, you just want me to be your fucking project. I'm not gonna fucking be there for you. I'm watching this and I'm like, this man's about to fumble the biggest bag
He's like,
that I've ever seen.
They look at you and see a survivor, a hero. They look at me and they see a monster.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest here. It makes me mad when I see people act how I used to act. So I was kind of heated. I was like, why are you being stupid? Just fucking, she's not trying to do, you idiot. Just fuck, ooh, I was getting upset. I'm like, she's not trying to be, she's trying to help you. Fucking, come on. I don't like it when stuff reminds me of how I used to be. I'm gonna be real. But Corey storms off, and Allison's real sad, and we get this really cool shot where she kind of puts her hands up to her face, and then it's like a transition shot to the moon. It's a good shot. And then, Corey's storming off.
He's
and then,
making his way downtown.
And then again,
Walking fast.
This motherfucker has the worst goddamn luck in the world. I'm going to be honest. This motherfucker he's just like me. He's got the worst luck in the world. Because then...
Oh, wait. We skipped a scene again.
Which one?
When Allison goes to the junkyard, and then they bring the car.
Oh, yeah. They bring the car.
Yeah, so Allison went to get her car fixed, and then he's like, okay, let me teach you to ride the motorcycle. And then she gets on the motorcycle, and we had to rewind that scene because, damn.
Yeah, because it's a good scene. It's like in The Dark Knight Rises, whenever Anne Hathaway gets on the bike, it's like that. Or in The Matrix Reloaded, I think, when Trinity gets on the bike. Yeah, bike scenes. They're great. Anyways, so we watch these movies for the plot. Never forget. But she's doing her thing, and Corey's like trying to help her. And again, she's not taking no for an answer. She's like just being very forward with him, and she's like, "Oh, I came here to see you."
Not get my car fixed, which she didn't get her car fixed.
Yeah, she didn't get her car fixed. That's the best part. And then the fucking shithead kid pulls up with his dad, and then Corey's stepdad is like, "Yo, Corey, fucking come help." And then the shit kid's dad is like,
this little dumbass doesn't know how to change a fucking tire.
Yeah, fucking genius. He slaps him on the back of the head. And then Corey's like, I'm going to use this to hurt you later. So then back to what we were talking about.
Back to Corey leaving the bar.
He's leaving the bar. Worst luck in the world. This motherfucker runs into the same group of shithead band kids. And then, they start terrorizing him, as band kids do. And and then the leader, Bleached Eyebrows is like, oh, you fucking killed that kid. And then Corey's like, you don't know what you're talking about. And then he's like, you're only being a shithead because your dad treats you like shit. And he's talking to the main guy.
I know what it looks like when somebody hates
and he's like, my dad hates me, huh? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, the sooner you get over the fact that your dad's a piece of shit, the sooner you can learn to move on from that and be a better person, buddy. That's just accept that your dad's a shithead. It's all you got to do, and then you can fucking move on with your life. I did it. Justin did it. We all did it. Everybody did it.
It's like the bully from It.
Yeah, it's like that.
He didn't move on, so he got fucking possessed.
Which one, Eddie Bauer? You talking about Eddie Bauer?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's worse in the book, but yeah, he's there's a lot of daddy issues in that book now that I'm thinking about it, because fucking what's her name? The girl. What was the redhead's name?
I can't remember their name.
I can't remember her name right now. There was Will, and then there was Georgie is the one that got killed first. And then Will was his brother with the stutter.
You mean Bill?
And then, Bill, whatever. And then, I don't remember, Eddie is the other one, the one that gets the cast. I don't remember the character's name. I'm going to be honest. I read the book, I listened to the book, I watched the movies. I don't remember a lot of it. I'm going to be real.
Anyways, the book goes into detail about the girl's
the book's
trauma
bad.
With her dad.
Yeah.
And it's bad.
It's, it made... there's some words that I hope I never have to hear again that came from that book. Not just from that, too. And if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. But that's besides the point. Because, he's like, fucking, my dad hates me, and then he throws Corey over the edge of the little bridge they're on, and Corey just fucking
Plop.
he just dies. That's the end of Corey.
I wish.
It's not. Corey's fine. Shut up. Anyway, so then
They're like, he fell. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
and then Margot's like, "Oh, we fucking killed a kid," and she's like all sad and traumatized. Whatever. She'll live. She's white. Anyway, so they get away, and then
No, she's a ginger.
fair. So then they go away, and then we see Corey getting dragged away suspiciously.
Into a sewer pipe.
And there's a hobo that's like, that's actual dialogue.
That's basically what he said.
And
yeah.
and then we go inside the sewer, and
Which I had to point out that did nobody check this place in 4 years?
no, and you know why? Because Michael's there, and Michael's just kind of vibing. He's just kind of having a good old time. He's hanging out. He's all right.
broken. He's killed.
He's chilling. He ain't
Chilling.
killing. He's chilling. But
Well, supposedly it's implied he's been killing a little bit.
yeah, are we gonna trust a fucking hobo anyway? So what happens is Corey makes his way out, but on the way out, Michael grabs him by the throat, and then Corey you get a shot of Corey's eye, and Michael's reflection is in it, and it's a lot like it's implied in the novelization. I'm pretty sure it just says that Michael is passing the evil on to Corey or whatever. Because Corey comes out of this. By the way, Corey's glasses are broken at this point. I have to stress that. Corey leaves, and there's this really cool shot of him in front of the tunnel on the way out, and like the camera kind of turns, and like the way he's set up, it's like this cool shot where you get a nice silhouette of him, and he fucks off. And he's like, man, what the fuck just happened? And then the hobo sneaks up on him and scares him. And the hobo's like, how'd you fucking get out? He's like, he takes people in there and they don't come back. Why did he let you live? And then
He's like, go in there and give her that mask because
I'm Michael Myers. And then he pulls his knife out, which is I think it's the knife that Corey had, the little switchblade. And then Corey stabs him and kills him. He's a little shook up by it. And he throws the knife away, runs home, and his mom's like, Corey, where were you? Oh my God! And she's like freaking out and having the time of her life. And then Corey goes into the bathroom, and he has this real Spider-Man moment where he looks into the mirror and just kind of like changes. He doesn't need glasses anymore, apparently. Maybe he was farsighted. I don't know. I don't really. It's fine. It's a metaphor. Who gives a shit? Somewhere in between all this, too, by the way, Laurie meets Frank at the grocery store by happenstance, and they flirt with each other pretty heavy. And as Laurie's walking out, this woman stops her and is like, what are you smiling about? And then, like, she just proceeds to fucking ruin Laurie's day by telling her that she's the sister of Laurie's neighbor from Halloween Kills that gets the fucking halogen bulb in her throat because she survived, I guess. And so she like makes Laurie feel bad, and says it's her fault because she teased Michael and taunted Michael, and to me, like once I thought about it, it kind of makes sense. And there's something that David Gordon Green says in the commentary that kind of makes me rationalize it a little better. But initially, it came off to me like, wow, this is like blaming a firefighter for 9/11, and I was like, this is not good. And then in the
Michael's
commentary,
not around to blame for their problems, so they're blaming the next best thing.
So they're blaming Laurie instead. That's one thing. But also David Gordon Green said, he's like, I imagine Haddonfield being a place that doesn't really have social media presence. He's like, so everybody would just kind of say the terrible things that you normally see on Twitter or Facebook just to each other's faces. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I can ride with that. And that's why I like watching the commentaries for these, because it can give me a different perspective on stuff and kind of make me, it make me appreciate something more or hate it more depending on, what I'm watching. But besides the point. That happens, and then, Corey turns into Spider-Man or whatever. And then I can't remember exactly what happens next.
He goes to Allison's house.
He goes to Allison's. Yeah. He goes to Allison's house, and we get that nice reverse shot. That's a throwback to Laurie looking for Michael in 2018 and seeing him in the window. It's like that, except Laurie's in the window and she sees Corey by the bush, and he's just kind of standing there looking creepy. And then Lori goes outside to investigate, and Corey just kind of cheesily pops up behind her and scares her. And he's like, I want to talk to Allison. And then Allison comes out, and he's like, yeah, I got jumped yesterday. Can we go for a walk? So then they go for a walk, and Allison and Corey's just like, I killed somebody. And Allison's like not fucking bothered at all because she's probably assuming that he's talking about the kid. So then he takes her to Allison. He takes Allison to the kid's house. That's long since been abandoned, and he's like talking about existential shit. Probably I don't remember exactly what he talks about here. Do you remember, Justin? Do you remember any memorable lines from this scene? Because I don't. I just remember he kind of shows her and he's like, "Oh, I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here." And then Allison's like, "Shut up." And then that's the scene. That's all I remember.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, so, but Allison, like, obviously still is connected to Corey. She still likes him a lot. And then, I think then it goes back to the hospital where Allison finds out that she didn't get the promotion.
Because she wouldn't open her legs.
Yeah, classic. And so then and then there's a part where like the nurse is talking to her while Allison's trying to get stuff together, and she won't shut the fuck up.
Oh, well, that was an important part of the other thing when Allison and Corey went on that walk. Corey was like explaining to her like, why do you take people's shit? And
that's
like,
right.
We could make things different and be different and get past all this bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm jumping ahead because what happens before the promotion thing is because then they go to the diner. And Doug is there, and like Allison and Corey are kind of talking, and Corey's kind of reiterating like we shouldn't take this from people. We should just leave, burn everything down. And then Doug comes up and he's like, "Hey, Allison, fucking,
you didn't call me,
you bitch." And then they talk for a bit, and then Allison's like, "We're good. Like I'm here with somebody," and Corey starts to get agitated. He's like, "She said she's good.
You don't want no fucking sponge cake."
Yeah, and then he keeps like pressuring Allison, and then Corey gets in his face. He starts talking shit about Corey. So then Corey gets in his face, and then he's like, "Okay, man, okay." And then he goes back to the table, and then his police bros are like, "Oh, you need help, bud? You need help?" And then he's like, "No, I got this. I got it." And then they go home, or Corey drives Allison home. And then they make out for a little bit. And then Allison's like, "You want to come up?" And then Corey's like, another night. Probably because he suspects that Doug is following him. So then, he drives to the sewer. And Doug follows him. Doug finds the body of the hobo. Doesn't call it in, though, because he's stupid.
Every time you say Doug, I just hear the theme song for that cartoon in my head.
Good. Actually, Doug probably doesn't call in the cops because he's about to commit a hate crime and kill Corey. But that's besides the point. So, and I say hate crime because Doug's a hater, but that's besides the point. He goes into the sewer.
No. First, Corey confronts him. He puts his jacket over Doug's head.
Does he do that? Okay.
Tries to take him down. Doug overpowers him. Corey crawls into the sewer laughing
and
like
he's
a
laughing,
fucking maniac.
Right? Yeah. So I don't really have an issue with this sequence because it's got a good atmosphere to it. So he goes into the sewer and like in classic Halloween fashion, there are some shots where you can swear you see Michael in the background, and there's one shot where you can see him in the background, and he's just a broken little boy, and then he turns around and Corey's just kind of standing, and he's like, "Hey, get down there, or get down from there." Ooh, and then Michael comes up and fucking grabs him, and they tussle for a bit. Doug knocks him off, and then Corey whacks him with his flashlight and restrains him. And he's like,
"Show me."
He's like, "Show me how, Michael. Show me how." And then Michael pulls out a very rusty knife, so this must suck. Pulls out a very rusty knife from like a rock or some shit, a wall, and he goes up to the dude and slits his throat, and then he stabs him, and he starts getting the shivers because he's getting his strength back, and he keeps fucking stabbing him, and then he stands tall for the first time in probably 4 years.
He's like, "Fuck yeah, that's exactly what I needed."
Oh, brings back memories, baby. And then we get to the scene where Allison finds out she doesn't get the promotion, and she tells the nurse to shut the fuck up. And then after that little scene, we go to the doctor's home at night, And he's got the nurse with him.
They're there to celebrate the promotion.
Yeah, they're gonna.
He's
have
been waiting
sex or
for it all
whatever.
day. He's got some wine, I guess.
He's got some wine that he says in French. I don't know, dude.
And then he's like, well, the girl's like, I'm going to go take a shower and freshen up. He's like, oh, yeah, you go do that. Maybe I'll join you.
And he doesn't.
He doesn't.
So then he goes outside to prepare the wine and everything, make sure everything's set up properly, and then you hear him go, "Oh!" And then old girl ain't in the shower yet, so she's like,
She's too busy trying on the robe she got as a present.
she's like, Dr. Wrinkle Dick, and he doesn't answer, so she goes outside, and you can kind of see something in the shadows. You can kind of see a movement going as she's walking to the light, and then she goes to turn the light on, and then you just see Corey in the scarecrow mask stabbing the fuck out of
Dr. Mathis.
out of Dr. Wrinkledick. Also, I have to stress, Corey gets the scarecrow mask because he immediately after killing Doug, he goes to see Allison, and they talk for a little bit, and then they go have sex or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I
And then he
forgot that
sees the scarecrow mask, then he grabs it. So he's got the scarecrow mask on. He's stabbing the fuck out of what's her name, what's his
doctor
name, and
with
then
with a corkscrew.
and with a corkscrew too. He's got a plastic bag over his head. It's rough. And so then the nurse goes inside, and she tries to call the police, and then Michael comes out of the closet, and so good for him. Glad we have another gay icon in the horror community. So glad. Congratulations to Michael Myers. It was late, but I'm glad it happened. I knew he was an ally because the way he posed Little John and Big John in Halloween Kills, I knew he had to be an ally. That's so good. Score one for the LGBT team. Woo, yeah, celebration. Anyway, so then he comes out, he pulls out a classic to show off to Corey. He grabs her by the throat, lifts her up, takes the knife and stabs her through the chest and gets it to her. She stays up there, tilts his head and everything. It's a classic. It's a classic Michael kill. How can you go wrong?
Yep.
How can you go wrong? It's so good. So then, that happens. And then it cuts to a scene where Corey's riding a bike with Allison. But for a split second, one can infer that it's Corey and Michael on the bike. And I remember seeing a comment or a Letterboxd review that said, there was a brief period of time where I thought Michael was piggybacking on a motorcycle with Corey, and my soul left my body for a moment, because that would have been fucking amazing. And then we get
Those two, that scene, and then when they do it again with the awkward music, those take me out of the mood of the movie.
well, yeah, because it's set up more like a love story in those scenes. Very strange, but they go to the radio station. They're vibing. They're having a good time.
They're on the roof.
They're having a grand old time on the roof, and then Corey's
Like, fuck it, scorched earth, burn it all, let's leave.
yeah, and then he jumps off, and Allison's like, "Hey!" And then Corey's like, "Hey, I'm all right." And then Willie the kid comes out, and he's like, "Hey, man, what the fuck?" And then Allison and Corey are like, "Hey,
I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch.
yeah, you think, right?" I feel like that was what he was supposed to be, but he plays a good asshole for like the 5 minutes he's on, because he's like basically a Michael Myers conspiracy theorist. Early on in the movie, you hear him talk about how, oh, that wasn't really Michael. Michael died in a plane crash in 1977, and then fucking, I don't know, some other dude did it. I don't whatever. He's basically QAnon for Michael Myers. So he's talking all this shit to Corey and Allison, and he's like, "Get off my property before I have to fuck you up." And then he goes back inside, and Allison's like, "Yeah, fuck it.
Let's leave."
We'll do it live." And then Corey's like, "Yeah, we're going to burn it all." And then, some more stuff happens. I don't remember. I'll remember later.
Laurie confronts Corey.
Yeah, Laurie confronts Corey because he's sleeping in the fucking house where the murder happened, right? So
It's his Myers house.
yeah, basically. And he's sleeping there, and then Laurie's like, "Hey, man, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, you fumbled the bag almost." And then Corey's like, yeah, but I got it. And then, he's like...
And then Laurie's like, "Not anymore. You ain't seeing my granddaughter, because I see the same thing in you that I saw in Michael."
And then Corey's like, "You should have given in. You should have given in when you looked into his eyes. You should have given in to that power." And then Laurie fucks off before he can say anything. and then he goes and looks for her, and then he just gets mad and fucking hits the piano, and then I think at some point Corey goes home and his mom kisses him on the lips because she slaps him or whatever. I forgot to mention that his mom's weird and overbearing.
And then his stepdad says, "I hope you find love."
Yeah, I hope you find love because I ain't happy. So then that's what's implied. And then so then Corey calls Allison and says, "We're leaving tonight."
At 9.
Yeah, at 9 p.m. That's important, I guess. So
And
then he
then-
goes home. He doesn't go home. He goes to the sewer, and Michael's just standing there, bricked up. He's just standing there, and then Corey walks in and starts bapping him, and he's like, "Give me the fucking mask," and he's like, "You're not anything special. You're just a man in a Halloween mask." He takes the mask off of him, and you gotta imagine the fucking smell. By the way, this mask has been burned and has been on a sweaty man's head for 4 fucking years. Imagine the fucking smell. Oh my god. It must be
Just imagine
disgusting.
what Michael smells like in general.
Like that man, like it's a miracle he kills anybody because you should be able to fucking smell him a mile away. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so then he runs off, and he goats the band kids into following him to his stepdad's junkyard.
Well, first there's the confrontation of Lori and Allison while she's packing her shit.
True, yeah. True
We get
facts.
that first. And
Yeah.
then Allison's just like, no, you're the reason everybody's dead. It's not Michael. You're Michael.
Yeah, Corey turns Allison against Lori, which feels very out of character for her, but whatever, it's fine. I got over it. I'm not as mad about that as I was initially. But yeah, so then Lori's like, "Oh, I'm slapping my knees. I'm upset."
I'm depressed.
So then, she gets real sad about it. But then Corey goes to the gas station, and he keys the word "psycho" onto the band kid's car.
Followed by a groupie.
Followed by what? Oh, shut up! Shut up!
Psycho groupie
Shut up!
cocaine craze.
Oh my god. Anyway, so then
Imagine System of a Down without Surge.
he stopped talking. Anyway, so then that's just scars on broad. Whatever. Anyway, so they go to the junkyard, and they're like, "We're gonna beat this fucking nerd up. We're gonna beat him up, beat him." And so then
I like how that was also a reference to Halloween 5.
yeah, a little bit. Was it? Wait.
Yeah, when Michael drags the thing across the douchebag's car.
Oh, hey buddy, you're looking for trouble, and then Michael's just
All right, you want to play?
yeah, he just fucking beats his face in with the fucking rake. Yeah, classic. Love that. That's never watching that movie again. Anyway, so
Halloween 5 is fine.
no, it's not. This is better than Halloween 5. Anyway,
I mean, I'll say that, but I
so
still like 5.
yeah, well, you know what? You like bad things sometimes. Anyway, so what ends up happening is they all get there, and they're gonna concoct a plan to kill Corey or whatever. One of the
then they
band
c-
kids,
They can't find him.
yeah, they can't find him, and then old bleached eyebrows is like, "I gotta go to the car to get my keys or whatever." I don't remember.
No. The main dude says, "Okay, we can't find him. Let's fuck up his bike." So he's like, "Grab that chain and put it through the wheel. Billy, go start the car and drag the motorcycle." Yeah.
Yeah, and then they find Billy with a drumstick in his eye, which I have to wonder if he just shoved it in there or if he broke it first and then shoved
He
it in
probably
there.
just shoved it in there.
I don't know what's worse.
Corey's not good at planning.
That's a lot of force shoving it in there like that.
I mean, he put it through his eye.
Yeah, but that's a lot of force. Drumsticks, I don't know. I wonder if it's a drumstick that had recently been used, because if it's a drumstick that had recently been used, that means that it would have been splintering a little bit, which means it would have been much worse. If it was enough to kill him,
The point is, Billy's
that's a lot of
dead.
force. Billy's fucking dead. He's a piece of... Fuck him, he's dead. So then a tow truck starts up, and both of the girls run away from it. Margot gets run over on a fence. She gets trapped under a fence. And then while this is all happening... she gets trapped under a fence. Corey gets out of the car, dressed as Michael completely, by the way. Beats the shit out of the other girl. And then...
Well, he just happened to own a jumpsuit because he was a mechanic.
because he was a mechanic. So, yeah, he beats the shit out of her. And then old fucking Gooby Shoe, the main band kid, goes and gets Corey's stepdad, who's still there, by the way, because he's working overtime by watching a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. And there's a cat there. That's the best part of the movie. So then he's like, here, take this gun.
It's loaded. Stay here.
It's loaded. Stay here. Famous last words. So then he goes outside and finds Margot trapped under the fence. And then Corey is standing to the right of him with his mask off.
And he's like, Corey?
And then Corey's like, fuck it, mask on. And then he puts his mask back on. And then the fucking main band kid is like, I got you, you fucking psycho. And then he shoots his stepdad through the head because he's stupid. And then he runs up over there and he finds
Margot's like, what's her name? And
I think it's Stacy. Yes, it was Stacy because I was like, oh yeah, because I made the joke where it was like, I was like, yeah, she's dead, but her mom's got it going on. But you know, so he's like, yeah, she's dead. And then Margot's like, so are you. And then Corey fucking hits him and knocks him down. And then he fucking gets a blowtorch. It just blows his fucking mouth open with a blowtorch. It's so cool. It's such a good shot. It's because he's squirming.
And he just gives Margot the Gears of War classic head stomp.
Just stomps on her head. She just goes, shit. And then and then she dies. And then he makes his way to the radio station where Willie the Kid's taking a phone call where somebody calls him a conspiracy theorist and then like quotes Nietzsche by saying, oh, when you stare into the abyss, it stares back. And then Willie the Kid's like, Nietzsche always said, without music, life would be a mistake, which is an actual quote, surprisingly. I thought he made that up because I was like, is that Nietzsche? I didn't know that. So then, yeah, he says that. And then he puts on some music and he's distracted as Michael walks in, or
Corey.
As Corey walks in.
Don't insult my boy like that.
To the well, that's the point of the movie, which we'll get into. Corey walks in, and he sees Darcy, the male ghoul girl from Joe Bob Briggs, drive-in at the movies, drive-in with Joe Bob Briggs. A nice little cameo. She gets murdered. And then Corey steps inside the booth and takes Willie the Kid's face and smashes it against the turntables until his jaw is broken and his tongue's hanging out.
Seems like the tables have turned.
Then he takes a pair of scissors and cuts his tongue off, and it lands on the record, and it makes the record skip a bunch. Kind of funny, kind of cute, little fun little kill. And then after that, Allison shows up to the diner. Corey's not there. And then Corey goes home and kills his mom while she's watching some fucking cooking show. I don't know, but he kills her. And then Allison goes to Corey's house. Mom's dead, but she doesn't know that. So then, after that, Corey makes one last stop to Laurie's house as Laurie's trying to call Allison. No answer. She calls in to report a suicide, gets a gun, shoots a pumpkin to make whoever's there think that she killed herself. And then Corey's like, oh, fucking, I'm gonna get you. And then Laurie's like,
surprise, motherfucker.
You thought I'd kill myself? You thought I'd fucking do that? And then she shoots him like 3 times. I don't know. Twice. And then he falls off the edge of the stairs, much like Jeremy did. And so then Laurie goes down there, and she's like, I tried to be compassionate, but you're a little fucking shit. And then Corey's like, oh, blah, blah, yeah, whoa. That's what the actual dialogue. But Corey like Alice or Laurie says something about how like Allison will never fucking be with you or whatever. And then Corey's like, if I can't have her. And then he stabs himself in the fucking throat. And then he collapses, and Laurie pulls the knife out for some fucking reason. She could have just left it in his neck. It's all like. Then it would have been less suspicious when Allison fucking walks in with perfect timing and she sees Laurie with the knife, and Laurie's like, oh, fuck, I can't believe you've done this. And then, Allison's like, what did you do? And then she goes and, like, she touches Corey's face, and it's a callback to when they were dancing and Corey was on the floor and she was touching his face. It's the same thing. It's the beginning and the end of their relationship. It's bookended. It's cute. Symbolism, whatever. So then Allison gets mad and storms off. And then Laurie's like, oh, man, I'm sad. And then she notices the door's open. And then she's like, oh, fuck. And then she goes and closes it, I think.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't go and close it, actually. So then she's hanging out there. And then
She gets suspicious, gets ready, and then
Michael
steps in, grabs his mask,
grabs his mask,
grabs the knife,
puts
but
it
Corey
on.
wakes up and grabs his wrist, so they start struggling, and then Lori knows that he's there.
And then Michael breaks Corey's neck like a twig. And then Lori turns on the microwave and goes to hide in the corner. The other room. That's where Lori goes to hide. Whoops, I'm yawning, people. I wake up at 5:30. Anyway, so Lori goes into the other room, and then Michael hears her as she stops a pendulous little thing for the blinds. And then the microwave goes off, and then that distracts Michael enough for Lori to come out swinging. They have a nice little fight. Fun little brutal little fight. They got a nice little fight. Basically, it ends with Lori pinning
Michael to the table.
And then she drops the fridge on him, and
Drops
then
the fridge
on his legs to pin him, and then she slits his throat, and then Michael fucking pulls his hand out from under the fucking he pulls his right hand
through the knife.
And grabs Lori by the throat, and then we get a nice flashback to like all the times that they fought in the past, barring H2O and Resurrection. So they
don't exist.
We get a flashback to when they fight, and then the flashback ends with Allison saving Karen, I believe, in Halloween 2018 when she cut Michael's arm, and the same thing happens here, kinda.
Allison comes in and is just taking no shit. She breaks Michael's arm.
She breaks his fucking arm. And then Michael's like, oh, fuck, I'm dying.
I'm not letting him do this to you.
Yeah, and then Lori slits his wrist. And Michael bleeds out while they hold hands a little bit. And then Frank shows up, and he's like, oh, my God.
That's Michael?
And then he's like, that's Michael. And then Lori's like, he's dead. And then Allison's like, not dead enough. So then they have a whole-ass funeral procession for him at midnight, where they take him to the junkyard and throw him in the meat grinder. And that's the end of Michael Myers. He gets thrown into a fucking meat grinder.
And we get everyone from the town coming up, even
all these people that hated Lori 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
All of a sudden are her best buds, and they go with her to the procession.
The sheriff who tried to be all reasonable and shit is now unreasonable. He's like, yeah, fuck it, let him do this.
Well, yeah, because he's been proven wrong at this point.
Stupid.
So
we get the little kid who Vicky babysat in 2018.
Yeah, R.I.P. to a real one, by the way.
Justice for Vicky, yeah.
R.I.P. to a real one, yeah. The best girl in the first one, just like Cheryl. It hurts. Anyway, so, yeah, it's R.I.P. to the real ones. And
I like how even though Michael's face is shown, you still never get a clear look at it.
Yeah, no. He's fucked up. But, yeah, so then they throw him in the meat grinder. And then in the epilogue, we find that Allison moves out of town, and Lori finishes her book, talking about how evil never leaves, it just changes shape, or something along those lines. And then she meets with Frank for a little bit, because Frank leaves her vegetables, how romantic. And then they chat for a bit, and then after that...
He's implying something with the zucchini.
All right, and then after that, we get a series of shots of Lori's home, where everything is still and calm with no breathing, and then a final shot of Michael's mask laying on Lori's
coffee table.
in Lori's study on her coffee table. And then Don't Fear the Reaper starts playing, and that's Halloween ends. And it's actually over. Oh, boy.
Until they decide to make a series or another movie.
Which they probably will, let's be honest.
Whatever the trend is now.
Yeah, well, they already did the trend, which was the requel. So, until something else comes out. So, lot to go over with this one. First of all, I'm gonna read the Rotten Tomatoes score. Our good friends at Rotten Tomatoes. 40% of 249 critics, average rating of 5.1 out of 10. The consensus reads, Halloween ends, for now anyway, with a frequently befuddling installment that's stabbed, slashed, and beaten by a series of frustrating missed opportunities. So that's how they feel about it. And that's not really how I feel about it. So this movie is very divisive for a lot of different reasons. It's a real Metal Gear Solid 2 situation, and you know, people hate it when you do something different. And initially, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't crazy about it, but rewatching it, I liked it a little bit more. I appreciated it a little bit more. I appreciated what it was going for a little bit more. I think it's a pretty good movie. I don't think that this should have been the end, though. I don't think that... I feel like... So, I feel like this would have been better to happen after Halloween 2018. You have Laurie trap him in the house... And then it burns down, firefighters get there and Michael's gone. And then he's just gone for 4 years or whatever. Just have it do that. Have it do that. That would explain... That way you don't have that shit that's established in kills of how he transcends and gets stronger with each kill. Because it doesn't make sense to me that he would just stop killing people. Because he's like a fucking shark. And then he's just going to stop killing people frequently for 4 years. Like, it doesn't make... Michael has never really been one that seems to care about the law. He's never really been one that seems to care about, oh, the cops are on me. I better quiet down for a bit. That's not who he is. So it doesn't really make sense for me to have him kill literally half of Haddonfield in Halloween Kills and a lot of important people in Halloween Kills too. Well, important to the fans people. He does all that shit. Kills Karen and then just fucks off for 4 years. That doesn't make sense to me. I would have rather...
Nurse his wounds?
Yeah, but, like, they already established that, like, he gets stronger and shit whenever he transcends and all that. He obviously doesn't feel the pain while he's killing, so why wouldn't he just keep killing so he doesn't feel the pain? Because a motherfucker could get up from all that shit.
Your brain can only take you so far.
Yeah, but, like, then why didn't he just crawl away? Why did he have, like, one big final, like... oh, I'm gonna kill everybody moment. Like, you know, like, it doesn't...
Because they were in his way?
I can't, like, rationalize it. I can't fucking... I don't know. It doesn't make sense in my head. It makes more sense to me if he just, you know, fucked off for 4 years because he was nursing some burn... If he was nursing his wounds without knowing that he transcends or whatever shit, that'd be different. But... whatever. I feel like if you cut kills out of the trilogy, this works better. That's what I think.
I don't.
I think so because it
if you took Corey's story and just made it something of its own thing and made Ends a completely different movie, it would have made more sense.
I mean, they still could have done that. Where Corey like finds Michael and reawakens him, and then the last movie is that, but they didn't do that.
Or like you said, Corey should have been introduced sooner than this movie.
Yeah, because one of the problems that I have with it is that his story feels rushed. I like Corey. I think his arc's interesting, but it feels rushed because they saved it all for one movie.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem with it. As a whole, trilogy-wise, again, I don't really like Kills that much right now because of this movie. Because I'm frustrated that this movie would work better in my mind without Halloween Kills. Because Halloween Kills was, you know, it served a purpose in the sense that Michael was really mad and, like, his rage was on full display. And then, like, you know, you had that shit about, oh, and then what the paranoia will do to a small town. All that stuff is fine. But, like, they kind of retread that to a lesser extent here with what the paranoia and trauma does to a town long term, which, again, would be better if it didn't exist in Kills already. Because it's much more interesting the way they do it in this movie, where they do it as something that's like, oh, well, we need a new boogeyman to blame. Which, again, they already kind of did in Kills when everybody thought that one escaped asylum patient was Michael, when it obviously fucking wasn't. Like, I don't know. I think you cut Kills out and then just have it be 2 movies, so that way it's a true trilogy between 78, 18, and this, instead of it being a quadrilogy. I just think that would have worked better, personally. You could have introduced Corey in 2018 and then had him have, like, little hints here and there. Or maybe not. Maybe Ends would have worked just fine. Have Karen fucking die of cancer. I don't know. Fucking make something up. Or have her still be alive. And then she gets killed by Corey or something. I don't know. There's a number of things you could have done. But I don't like I don't like my brain can't make sense of why you would set it up to make Michael this unstoppable killing machine and then just have him stop doing it for 4 years. That doesn't make sense in my head at all, and I don't like that. And that's why I wish kills didn't exist now, because I like Halloween Ends to an extent, but the reason part of it falls flat for me is because of what was already established in Halloween Kills. And that irks me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just bugs me because it doesn't like my brain can't rationalize it. Like I can rationalize shit with The Last Jedi and have it to where like, oh, none of this actually matters, by the way. We're forging a new path. I can make sense of that. But it just seems very uncharacteristic for Michael to all of a sudden lay low and nurse his wounds or whatever, because motherfucker survived a shitload of shots in Halloween 1 and then was still walking around like nothing happened at the beginning of Halloween Kills in that little flashback. So it's like you're either going to have him be a supernatural entity or not, and then you can't establish the rules for him being a supernatural entity and then like have him act out of character with those rules and then introduce other rules of him like passing the evil on to somebody.
Was that really a rule or more of just Laurie's opinion?
That's the thing is... Why do they? But they set it up like it was.
And then again, does Michael,
so,
like you said, does Michael know that that's what makes him go, or is he just still going on pure adrenaline with, oh, I'm just gonna kill? Like he doesn't know that this is what's fueling him. That's what's truly doing that. It's just his primal want to kill. That's all it is for him.
I mean, that might be, but
that's
I don't
my
know.
defense for it, because like.
But I don't know. Then why would he kill? There has to be a reason for him to do it. Even like serial killers, even serial killers have a reason. Like there has to be a reason.
Well, his reason there, he was mad. Everyone was in
Kills,
his way of what he wanted, so they're dead.
Yeah, but then that clashes with this movie for me personally. That's why I'm like I still like Halloween Kills. I still think it's a fun little slasher. It's full of gory kills and they're all awesome or whatever. But like I don't know. It's just I just feel like it doesn't gel well with this movie. If you were to watch all three back to back, it wouldn't work for me personally. But you know, they did it the way they did it, and you know, we still got what I think is a pretty solid movie as I've come to appreciate it over time. But I don't know. I just think it would be better if it was
its own thing. Just
2018 and ends. I think it would be better with that personally. And you could tweak some stuff here and there with Karen, and I think it would be better. Poisonally, I think it would be better. But you know, at least we got 3 pretty good Halloween movies out of it. 2018 is still my favorite of the bunch because that's the one that feels most like the original in spirit, while also kind of making its own path, and then so 2018 is still my favorite, but that's fine. It's all right. It's still fun little movies. I'm sure we'll get another Halloween movie eventually. I don't know what it would be because I think the rights are going to go back to Malek Akkad.
I kind of don't want.
So I don't know. I mean, well, he's always been the producer, but now he can do whatever he wants with it instead of getting input from Jason Blum or whatever. So I don't know what they're gonna do. It's probably just gonna be another reboot, and I don't know how that's gonna go because I don't know how many times you can tell the same story, because it would be the 3rd time after Rob Zombie's Halloween. But yeah, the best thing about this movie is that it tries something different, and it doesn't always succeed, but I really think that that's just because of the last 2 movies, more specifically the last one, as to why it didn't succeed for a lot of people. Because, say what you will about Halloween 3, but at least that removed itself from Michael Myers completely, because Michael Myers was supposed to be dead at the end of Halloween 2. So at least that one was like, this is something completely different. Go fuck yourself. It's a Twilight Zone episode.
This
fuck
is just
off.
like, oh, we rewrote this halfway through thinking, and we can't undo some of the shit we already did, so let's mix them.
Yeah, and it's like I was talking to Justin. There's Red Letter Media had a very positive review of this movie, which surprised me, and it kind of let me have a different perspective on it. But they were talking about how much they liked the fact that it tried something different after 12 sequels of the same shit, and they said the biggest failure, the biggest letdown was Michael coming back at the end, because it just feels tacked on for hardcore fans, and that's
like, oh yeah, here you go.
Yeah, and it's like
We forgot this was supposed to be Laurie and Michael's final confrontation, the epic conclusion.
And I don't really like how it plays out, because it doesn't feel natural. It's just Michael's coming back to get his mask. It's not. It doesn't.
It's just, again, Laurie happened to be there.
I would. I think they said something in the video about how it would have been better if because they were like, we thought Corey killed Michael when he fought him. We thought Michael just fucking died of a heart attack or something. But then he sits up, and we just kind of looked at each other and we were like, oh no, they're gonna do this now. Which, I mean, if I'm being honest, I think it would have worked better if Corey just fucking killed Michael. And then
at this point, yeah, just fuck it.
And then Corey and Laurie had a fight, because then Laurie would still be killing the evil that's been plaguing Haddonfield, if that's how you want to look at it. Mm-hmm. That would be fine. And then that would already play into the allusions that they make to Lost Highway anyway. Because there's a couple of shots in here and a couple of themes in here that remind me a lot of Lost Highway, which is a David Lynch movie. The most explicit reference to this is there's that part where Corey and Allison, are on their motorcycle going, I think they're coming back from the bar or from the restaurant or something. I can't remember exactly. But they're driving down the highway, and there's this POV shot of the front of the bike on the road, and it looks almost exactly like the opening shot and title sequence to Lost Highway, almost exactly. And I thought that was interesting, because Lost Highway also deals with split personality and two people being similar while also being different, but they're also one and the same in a way. And that's kind of the vibe I get from the story that this movie's trying to tell with Corey's arc, because the reason Michael probably transfers the evil to him or whatever is because he sees that Corey has that potential in him or whatever, right? And then, you have Corey struggling with who he is identity-wise, which also plays into the themes with Lost Highway and all that. So that's why I'm like, okay, if you want to go the Lost Highway route, then it can still work, if Corey's the Michael at the end of the movie. Because the evil will still die or whatever. But you can't do that because you made Michael unkillable in the last movie. So he's got to get up until he's literally demolished into pieces at the end. So I don't know. I think it would have worked better if... I would rather it not have just been kind of tacked on. That being said, I thought the fight was neat. I thought it was a good fight. It was very brutal. It was very intimate, which was the intent. And I think that little montage was pretty cool too. But you can tell that it was just tacked on so that way hardcore fans would have something to appreciate about it, because they already knew the reception that came with Halloween 3. So I think they were trying to kind of lessen that blow. But I don't think they did, because a lot of people didn't like this movie. A lot of hardcore fans were like, this is the worst one in the franchise. This is the worst one. This is worse than Halloween Resurrection, which is a very funny thing to say. This is worse than The Curse of Michael Myers, which is a very funny thing to say, because that is not true. I don't know where I'd rank this one. I'm going to have to redo my ranking because I feel differently about it now. But I still, as far as trying something different, I still like the Rob Zombie movies more. But that's just me. I know that's not, a common opinion, but I don't know. It's still fine. At this point, I'm just more worried about what's going to come next more than anything.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be something. I don't know. Maybe we'll get Michael Myers' origins, and it'll be about how he killed a kid at summer camp or some shit. I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to get into some production stuff here. So the font choice, the Halloween 3 font was a very deliberate choice to try to suggest the contrasting nature of the film compared to the others. That was also done with the little upbeat music that plays during the beginning too, which is a bit from Willie the Kid's radio show. So David Gordon Green came back to write and direct this. He co-wrote it with a couple of other people. I don't remember their names off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure Danny McBride was one of them again. But David Gordon Green wanted the cold open to serve as its own little short film, and he kind of pulled inspiration from older slashers like When a Stranger Calls and all that. And then John Carpenter's The Thing being in the movie was a nod to Lindsay and Laurie watching The Thing from Another World. And David Gordon Green also said he wanted that in there to kind of like serve as like an indicator that like this film wasn't just influenced by John Carpenter's Halloween. It was influenced by a lot of John Carpenter's movie. And I can kind of see that. I don't know if it came across as clearly as he wanted. But I can kind of see what he was going for, though.
Yeah.
The opening also serves a thematic purpose by suggesting that history repeats itself in Haddonfield in the sense that, like, it's another babysitter and it's another tragedy that happens with a babysitter that causes all this shit to happen in Haddonfield, you know, like that. And it creates another monster, albeit in a different way. So the set designer for the house wanted to talked about how, I think it was the writer, one of the other writers, was talking about how when Corey's going up the stairs, it's supposed to represent like him kind of going into his own psyche, with that little attic room representing like some like subconscious fear that would like come out or something. I don't really know what point he was trying to make with that, but like I can kind of see what he's going for, again, considering that the house plays such a big role for Corey's character later on in the movie. It kind of I think the whole house more or less represents like his state of mind, and as the house becomes in more and more of a state of disrepair, you know, so does Corey's morality and stuff. So I can kind of see what they're going for.
Yeah.
And let me see. And then you had the opening montage, which they said the reason they put that in was so that way you'd have a little bit of Michael Myers at the beginning, because he doesn't show up until like 30 minutes into the movie. And they're like, you know, for a Halloween movie, that's a long time to go without Michael Myers. Talked about how the hanging woman in the film was Oscar's mom. Willie the Kid being the radio host and the radio tower and all that is a reference to The Fog. I kind of picked up on that. Fog's a good movie. You should watch it. Don't watch the remake. Watch the original. So yeah, and then I talked about the social media thing. And then they talked about how the dance between Allison and Corey is representative of their entire relationship throughout the film, including their final moments after Corey commits suicide to try and frame Laurie. And that's the thing that I was talking about, where it's that same shot where she's got his hands on her face, or she's got her hands on his face, and she's like caressing him as he's dying, and you know, that shot, reverse shot. Apparently the rats in the sewer were real and also very well behaved. So they talked about how Corey accidentally pushing the kid off the stairs altered the course of his life, and then Corey getting pushed off of the bridge by the shithead kids also has, you know, an effect on his life, because then he gets dragged away by Michael. They also point out that in Halloween Kills, all the kills are brutal and senseless because Michael isn't really, he's just angry. But in Ends, they wanted every kill to have a purpose. Every kill is personal to Corey, and they aren't just random acts of violence. Like, everything is just him, like, you know, kind of his own fucked up sense of justice, pretty much. Except for the hobo. That could be argued that was self-defense, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So, although I don't think this was the intent, the actor that plays Corey, Rowan Campbell, suggests that you can watch the film entirely from Corey's point of view, and it changes the significance of certain scenes, like the scene where Laurie visits him and then she just disappears, like the scene in the beginning where it can be argued that you're seeing it from Corey's eyes, so, you know, maybe he's remembering it a certain way, but maybe he actually killed the kid, and that's another thing that's another one of those Lost Highway connections, because Lost Highway is like a fucking nightmare that doesn't make any sense, and Lost Highway is all about, I'm pretty sure Bill Pullman's character says at one point, I like to remember things how I want, not necessarily how they happened. And, you know, that's kind of what I think Rowan Campbell was trying to insinuate. And I guess you can watch it that way. And David Gordon Green was like, yeah, I can kind of see that. But, like, I don't think that was the intent. I don't think that was the intent at all. But, you know, like I talk about with art, what's great about it is everybody can interpret it in different ways. Like how I don't really think that Kills works anymore. And Justin still likes Halloween Kills a lot. Yeah, it's fine. We take different things from it. And we have different opinions. And then we kill each other after the show. You know, that's how it goes. And then Corey falls again when he gets shot by Laurie, and then that brings about his death, another change in his character. They wanted the fight between Michael and Laurie to feel intimate. Jamie Lee Curtis helped choreograph the whole thing and did all of her own stunts, by the way. Well, 99% of her own stunts. Like her head getting smashed into the glass, that was Jamie Lee Curtis. Like just doing that. And James Jude Courtney also did most of his stunts. So that shot of Michael being ground up in the meat grinder, I thought that was CGI, but apparently that was a dummy that they had, and they got it on the first try. It crushed in a way that was satisfactory. And the ending, of course, was a direct reference to the original film with the shots of different parts of Laurie's house, but no breathing this time because Michael's dead. He's dead. He dead. So now we go into the deleted scenes, which a couple of these I think should have stayed in the movie. One of them is Corey's first encounter with Michael. It's a lot longer, and there's more of a struggle between the two of them. And it also directly implies that Michael's been killing people over the last 4 years and hiding the bodies in the sewer, because the hobo kind of comments on it, but like the hobo's fucking crazy. So like, but like this is like a direct like insinuation, because Corey like ventures off to a different part of the sewer and tries to climb a ladder, and then he realizes that he can't get the manhole cover open or whatever, I think the grating open. So then he looks around and he sees all these fucking skeletons and shit, and he's just like, oh my god, and there's like rats everywhere. And then it goes into the scene where he gets grabbed by Michael on the way out and stuff. So because initially Michael kind of tries to like kill him, and then Corey gets away for a bit, and then he thinks Michael's gone, and then that's when he grabs him. Another one is an extended sequence of Laurie and Corey's mother discussing Corey. It's that part where Laurie goes to talk to her mom, or to his mom, and she's talking about how, like, you know, I'm worried about Corey, and he's seeing my granddaughter, and then his mom's like, you know, your granddaughter should be lucky to have a man like him. He's handsome and all that shit. And then when she says, like, you know, they only got after Corey because your boogeyman disappeared, so they wanted to find another one. Which is a running theme in the movie. But in this version of the scene, Corey shows up briefly and watches Laurie out the window as she leaves, calling to mind the scene from 2018 where Michael's watching from the window and kills. And then Corey's mom also throws a bunny statue and calls Laurie a bitch for daring to question her son's integrity. And I think that's kind of funny. There's an additional scene of Corey looking in a mirror with brief flashes of him killing the doctor that wronged Allison, and also him talking with Allison on the rooftop of the radio station. I think that was supposed to be more of a transition sequence, but, you know, that didn't make it. There's an extended sequence of Corey's dad at work where he lies to his wife about having a lot of work to do and having to stay at the junkyard, and he's just watching the same movie on the TV or on the laptop. And then Margot has an extended scene where in 2018 there's that part where Michael stomps on the psychiatrist's head, and you know, the psychiatrist is like, say something, right? Why won't you say something? Basically in this scene, Margot says that. She's like, why? She's like, just say something. Why won't you say something? And then takes a lot more stomps before her head explodes, which again shows that Corey's weaker than Michael, which I think this scene should have stayed in because I think it's a neat little callback. Also, it would have showed that Corey's weak and messy, because he stomps on her head like 4 times before it crushes. And it's a lot more graphic because then he runs over her body, and then the last shot of the scene is just Margot's face like fucking pushed in, and there's brains and shit everywhere. And I'm like, why wasn't that in the fucking movie? That's awesome. That's a good callback and everything. And then there's an extended scene of Corey killing his mom, with some extra dialogue about trick-or-treaters and extra scenes of the trick-or-treaters going crazy and demanding candy as Corey murders his mother. There's also an extra gore effect where Corey, like, cuts his mom's wrist open like completely, and then he stabs her to death. And also, the dialogue from the cooking show on the TV is like kind of correlates to what's happening. Again, I think that scene should have stayed in the movie. Because I like the symbolism of the trick-or-treaters kind of losing their fucking mind as like this violent thing is happening inside, and then that also echoes like how the town kind of acted in Halloween Kills, which, you know, I think that would have been fine. But, you know, what do I know? I'm not a director or a writer or anything. So then another special feature was called Final Girl, which was about Jamie Lee Curtis and this being her last time with the franchise. And she talks about how emotional it is, and they wanted to show Laurie as somebody that moved on from Michael instead of constantly living in fear of him still, which again, still could have worked if Halloween Kills didn't exist. I think it would have worked better, if we're being honest, because then she would have thought he was dead. That would have been better. But anyway, so pretty much everybody in the cast and crew has nothing but nice things to say to Jamie Lee Curtis or about Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis also was heavily involved with the script. And pretty sure she improv that line about showing your tits to grief. And Jamie Lee Curtis, the last thing she did, you know, her being her, she thanked all the fans and talked about how happy she was to, like, be a part of this franchise for so long. And I just want to say how happy I am that Jamie Lee Curtis was a part of this franchise for so long. Mm-hmm. Because to quote Amber from Scream 5, you can't have a Halloween movie without Jamie Lee, or it's not a certified Halloween movie without Jamie Lee. And that's true. Watch Scream 5, it's good. Anyway, and then another one was about kind of like Haddonfield. It was called No Place Like Haddonfield. They wanted Haddonfield to feel like a town that had been traumatized, which again seems to be a theme with the last two movies especially. The first film was Laurie's story. The second one was Karen's story. And they wanted this film to be kind of Allison's story. Because, you know, Karen kind of took the spotlight in Kills. And then Allison, it's mainly her and Corey in this one. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I kind of like that thematically. Because, yeah, the first movie was all about Laurie and her kind of working through her shit. And then Karen stepping up when Laurie was injured. And then, you know, she gets got. And then, you know, Allison moving on, basically. So I kind of like that too. And then, Nick Castle's cameo is his first speaking role in any movie, and that's pretty good. And then ending Halloween, the first thing that they worked on in the film was the final fight between Michael and Laurie. So they knew that was going to be in the movie from the beginning. I'm pretty sure they were working on that before they rewrote it or anything. I'm pretty sure this was like, this is what we're doing. They also wanted to make a film that had a good story that symbolized Michael's relationship with Laurie, and it also had to naturally lead to their final confrontation. I don't think it did that, but they tried, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I guess it kind of works in the sense that, like, the whole point of Halloween 2018 was that Laurie and Michael didn't have any connection. Yeah. So their final confrontation, again, just being by happenstance, kind of works with the themes that have been going on, but I just, at that point, they already had a big fight in 2018. Like, I would have been fine if that had been the final fight. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, they already, it feels like they had to retread parts just to please old fans. And, I mean, I get it, but, like, I think it would have been better if they just completely just did their own thing instead of having to tack it on. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's just me, you know. So they kept a lot of the film under wraps, obviously. Some people that worked on the film didn't even have access to the script. David Gordon Green also pleaded with the cast and crew repeatedly to not spoil anything about the movie. They also wanted the final fight to feel like a street brawl that happened unexpectedly, because it kind of does. Jamie Lee Curtis in particular wanted it to look as messy as possible. And David Gordon Green also says that, like, he wanted the movie to be a love letter to the fans, and that it examines the fucked up relationship that Michael and Laurie have. But I don't know if I agree with that. I could see it being a love letter to, like, Halloween, more or less, but, like,
to them specifically, no.
Yeah, I don't, because I don't think it centers more on. It doesn't really center on Laurie and Michael.
They're not even the focus of the movie.
It centers on the trauma that they might have caused, but I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't know. It's very, very strange. Very strange. Corey's arc, leading on to that last thing, is supposed to be a personification of the trauma that Michael's inflicted on Haddonfield. Corey's conflict is him trying to hold on to the good that's still in him. All of Corey's kills have some twisted sense of justice, and they wanted to show like what evil can do to a person, which I think the novel goes into greater detail on that too. Everybody liked Rowan. Everybody thought he was a good guy, and yeah, I mean I like him. It's just a shame that it had to be the last movie, I guess. I don't know. The visions of terror. Evil can be infectious. That's the theme, yep. The costume designer was talking about how hard it was to keep continuity from the last two movies for Michael's outfit because it's been through so much. Like, he's been stabbed, he's been shot, he's been burned. Like, he's been through so much shit. So this kind of leads into what you were saying. The idea of Michael living in the sewers is that he's kind of hidden himself away to die like a herd animal. So that leads into what you were thinking, where like he's just kind of like, well, I'm done. I'm good.
I mean, yeah, you've seen animals fight. They go at it like there's
I'm
no
good.
fucking end. But when they're finally done, they're sitting there breathing heavy. They're fucking hurt. They're in pain.
Yeah, so I can see what you're saying.
Because, like, watching a cat fight another cat is like,
Yeah.
how are y'all taking this and still going? Like,
Yeah, it's that adrenaline, yeah.
which again is why I defend kills in its
Yeah.
standing, because that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And again, I
can see
I
that.
do not hate this movie. Is it what I wanted the ending to be? No. Am I satisfied with it? Yeah. It did what it wanted to do and what they thought was the best ending they could give. Fine. And trying something new is always an appreciation because, I mean, how many movies are there in this
is
franchise?
the 13th one.
A lot.
Yeah, this is
So
the 13th one.
they had to do something different. It was inevitable, but at least they did it in the sense of trying to honor the entire original franchise and all that, and not
And Carpenter in general.
yeah, and that in general, and not make some stupid, over the top supernatural bullshit like 6 was going for and whatever.
Yeah, and then like Halloween 2 was going for, but again, Rob Zombie didn't want to make that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying because that I forgot that I wrote that down. I can see what you're saying.
Me, like I said, I'll defend how Kills fits in because, again, he ran on so much fucking adrenaline and
Yeah.
took the beating of his life.
Yes.
Because he's
He
taking
definitely
damage,
did.
yes, we've established that. But has he ever taken so much at once? No. And I'm not saying that shaking off a gunshot is easy, but shaking off gunshots and getting beaten by multiple people all at once is a big thing.
Because he had already taken a lot of damage in 2018.
Yeah, and again, Kills picked up right after
Yeah,
that,
Kills
so
is the
he had
same
no
night.
time to
Yeah,
rest.
Kills is the same night. Yeah.
So yeah, to me that's fine. I get he vanishes. That's fine. I would have liked maybe if the movie started there, just continue the theme and picking up right where it left off.
Yeah.
I would have thought that it would have been a more emotional impact to see Allison and Laurie's reaction to Karen's body.
Yeah,
like that would have been good to
I
see.
think that's a missed opportunity for sure. Yeah. A big missed opportunity.
I mean, we already know that Laurie knew that Karen was dead, but
Yeah.
Allison didn't, and she's sitting on the porch of that house
Yeah,
while
she's
all
right
that happens.
outside. Yeah.
So, okay, that would have been a great emotional scene. Plus, Allison's actress is fucking great at portraying her emotions and screaming.
Yeah, she's a very good actress, yes. She's probably the MVP of the trilogy outside of Jamie Lee, if I'm being honest.
So to me, that's how End should have started, and it should. My version, I would have focused on Michael's recovery, and him building himself back up, as how you said how Kills put it that he transcends from killing, and this one shows it too, but.
Yeah, because he gets the shivers, yeah.
I would have done more with that and like just followed his recovery process and having Laurie and Allison kind of be in the back thinking like just noticing little shit here and there as he's slowly getting stronger again and ready to come back. Maybe throw in some brief confrontations but nothing solid until the very end. And the fight should have taken place in the junkyard, not in the house.
Yeah.
because that would have made more sense. Because
Yeah, the procession always felt weird to me.
it would have been such a cool scene to have Michael and Laurie on top of that thing struggling against each other, and then finally you can have Allison be the hero,
be the one that pulls
the thing and gets him down in
and
there.
Laurie's able to push him into it, and yeah, that would have been awesome. Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Like I know that kind of seems like just a little basic take, but
I don't think so.
if I actually sat here and thought about it and tried to write it down, I could probably sort it out better of what I thought it should have been. But
Yeah.
again, I'm not gonna sit here and cry about this movie
Yeah, no.
because I liked it still, and like I said, 'cause trying something different is appreciated, and I get it. Corey was fine. His character was cool. I can get behind his feelings and motives because I've felt like that before too.
Yeah, we all have, I'm sure.
But you just watching the movie, you just get such an entire feeling of rush that I guess most people on their first watch sat there and are just like, this is fucking dumb. This makes no sense. Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Oh, Michael's here now, but now he's dead. What the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
oh, trailers lied to me, promotions lied to me, because
Yeah.
that's never happened
Yeah,
before.
people don't like that. MCU does it all the time. People don't like it when it happens in Halloween, though.
And people listening to early reviews of the movies and blah blah, how supposedly it got
Forming their own
a
opinions.
standing
and-
ovation,
yeah.
and it's like this is just a movie. You have to go in with your own opinion,
Yeah.
and I mean, you should do that with every movie in general, but you can't hate it for trying something different,
No, I don't think so, no.
because that's a closed-minded way to think, and you're just costing yourself what was actually a decent movie. Like, believe me, I understand your frustration in thinking that this movie wasn't what it was supposed to be, wasn't what you wanted it to be, but you can't deny that it was at least decent. It did something cool. It showed a even more human side to this franchise of what actually goes on aside from just the killing. That shows the trauma of what all this does to the characters in the movies and all that, and there aren't a lot of movies that take the time to do that and show
No.
a deeper thing just besides the killer. It's like, fuck, I lost my train of thought.
There are dogs barking outside. I don't know if you can hear them.
Dogs.
But I think I can get the hiding like a wounded animal thing. I get that, but again, it's just it's just the fucking, if they hadn't said that thing at the end about him transcending and then paired that with him killing everybody and coming back from the dead, basically, if they hadn't done that, I think I'd be like, oh yeah, that's great, but like that just makes my brain not want to work for some reason. But I do think that part of the reason I like this so much and that I became to appreciate it more over time is because this is a sequel to Halloween 4 that I wanted after we watched it. Because I think in Halloween, when we did Halloween 5 or 4, I don't remember, I had talked about how I wish they had just fucking carried on with Jamie being the fucking killer. Because that's so much more interesting to me than it being fucking Michael again.
Yeah,
and then that's what we get in this. And again, that's not what bugged me about it initially. What bugged me about it initially was that Corey's story felt rushed. They didn't really give it time to breathe. And that you set up these rules for Michael from kills and then ignore them. And that's what bugged me more than anything. But that's why I think I've come to like it, is because I'm like, oh fuck, this is the sequel to Halloween 4 that I always wanted. Like this is the one that I was talking about earlier. Like, even before I had watched Halloween 4, when I had read about how that was the original idea, I'm like, that could have been cool. But too bad they didn't fucking do it. And I think that's why I've grown to appreciate this one more. Because that's always been an interesting concept to me. Because I was thinking about how, well, let's say maybe it worked out the way that we initially wanted, where we get this final confrontation between Laurie and Michael. And then if you extend the universe further, you can have, evil change shape, as Laurie hints at the end of this, and have that be kind of like a teaser to what comes next. And what comes next could be Corey getting obsessed with Michael and fucking killing people or something like that. Because I don't think, I know Michael Myers is like what makes Halloween Halloween or whatever, but like, I think it can work with somebody else because it's like we were talking about. These 3 movies are about Haddonfield more than anything else. And they're about the effect that Michael has on Haddonfield. So it's not out of the question that one of those effects would be somebody becoming a killer like him and modeling themselves after him. That's not out of the question. So I think it still could have worked even if we had gotten the ending we wanted as like a continuation, like you mentioned, like a series. But, we got what we got. And personally, I'm happy with what we got. I know I said I like Kills less, but I still like Kills. I still think it's a good movie. I still think it's a good follow-up to Halloween. I still think it's a fun movie. I still think it's fun to watch, but this one just kind of makes it feel weird. I don't know. It just makes it feel weird in the continuity for me personally, and that's a me thing. That's not a Kills thing. That's not an Ends thing. That's just how my brain tries to process it. I'm just happy that we got these 3 movies, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like Halloween's one of my favorite franchises ever. Like that's just bar none. It's got one of my favorite horror movies of all time is the first one. It just keeps going from there. It's like Scream for me. It doesn't matter how many of these they make. I'll probably like them. Like I like the fucking Rob Zombie movies. I've come to like Halloween and Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween 2 more since we covered them. Like to the point where I fucking tracked them down on Blu-ray because they're out of print because the Weinsteins are fucking pigs. And I found them and bought them because I like them and because I want to watch them again. Because I think they're really good. I like these movies a lot. So even if these movies were all steaming piles of shit, I'd probably still enjoy them, like personally. And there are people that think these movies are steaming piles of shit, and I still fucking like them because they're fun little slashers. And I think 2018 especially did the franchise justice. I think Kills was fun, and I think this was a fun twist that could have been done so much better, but I'm glad that we at least got something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we still got our final. We got our ending. It may not have been the ending that we wanted. Sure, we can. I mean, you can look at any movie and be like, well, I think this ending would have worked better this way or that way. Mm-hmm. That can be applied to anything. And of course, since this franchise is so near and dear to me and Justin, of course we're going to be like, man, it would have been so much cooler if it had happened this way, if it had happened that way, But that doesn't mean that we hate it because we love this franchise. I even like Resurrection as like a, as a
funny movie to watch.
As a fun bad movie to watch. Like, I don't think there's a single entry in this franchise except for maybe 6 that I will watch again.
It's like the people who talk so much shit about Destiny 2 and still fucking play it.
Yeah.
You're gonna sit here and bash on it so much, but you're still gonna give it the most attention you can give it.
Yeah. And I will say that the final shots of this movie I like them a lot. They made me feel kind of like, yeah, that's a good ending. I like the final shots of it just being Michael's empty mask on the coffee table, and then Don't Fear the Reaper starts playing. I think that was a nice touch. So yeah, I mean, it could have been better, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Or no, a better example, the hate that Halo got, Infinite.
Oh, and Infinite, yeah.
It's justified, but
yeah,
be glad you got another Halo.
Yeah,
that tried to return to the roots you missed so much.
All the faults that Halo Infinite has from a multiplayer standpoint are because of shitty business practices that are sadly become the norm. Thanks, Epic and Fortnite, but they've sadly become the norm because that's what makes money
in games, and that's why I stopped complaining about it because it is what it is. Get over it.
But if you enjoy the gameplay, it's like I've been getting back into Overwatch 2, even though it's got a shitty fucking pay-to-win system with the Battle Pass. I still have fun with it. Yeah, there's things that could be better, but I still have fun with it. I mean, because it could be a whole lot worse than it is right now, and it has been, but it could be much worse. But, it's like this. It's if you like Halloween and you haven't watched the movie yet, I mean, even with us explaining it, I think you should give it a fair shot. You should go. It's just like I said with Halloween 3. Go into it with an open mind. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If it is, then cool. You might have a new favorite movie, but it's whatever. But I'm just glad that I like this more than I did when I first watched it because, again, I like Corey. I think he's got some good kills. I like that his kills are different than Michael's in the sense that they're very messy and very amateurish. I like that. They're not really planned out, whereas Michael makes these fucking art pieces out of his kills. Corey's just kind of like, oh, kill. Okay, I'm done. I'm going to go do something else now. I like that aspect of it. I just wish it didn't feel so rushed, and I wish that Laurie and Michael's thing was either removed or wasn't tacked on, or that you made it work a different way. I don't know. But like we said, we're just glad we got what we got. But that wasn't a sidetrack segment, but it kind of was because I'm about to talk about this stuff yet. So the cave set, the sewer set was built from scratch. That was like completely built from scratch, which surprised me because I'm like, I wonder where they found this sewer. And then when I was watching the special features, I was like, oh, I'm stupid. Of course they just build it. Why the fuck? Like, why would I think they would go to an actual sewer that just has the perfect amount of lighting for the scenes they want to do? I'm an idiot.
That place wasn't up to code anyway. There was a destroyed wall.
Absolutely was not. Lighting was a challenge for the sewers because they wanted there to be enough shadows, but they also needed light to see what was going on. So, talking about the deaths now, they wanted some of the kills to have subtlety to it. They didn't want everything to be like a big showing because they already did that with Halloween Kills. So they didn't want everything to be like super graphic and crazy. That's why there's only really that one with Willie the Kid. At least I think so. Corey's kills are sloppy compared to Michael's, which Rowan Campbell described as art projects. Chris Nelson, who who helped with the practical effects and pretty much choreographed the murders from the last two movies, came back in this one. He played the cop in the first movie that gets his head hollowed out. He's always described the kills as like pulling off a magic trick. The actor for Willie the Kid was talking about how he had all the prosthetics on one day, and Laurie came up to him and told him, "Hey, don't fuck this up." And Willie was like, "I can't fuck it up now. Like I don't want to disappoint Jamie Lee Curtis." And I'm just like, that's pretty funny. There's also behind the scenes footage of Rowan Campbell stomping on the dummy for Margot's head, and he's like really fucking into it. He's like loving it. That shit must be so much fun, man. Just doing that stuff, it's got to be a lot of fun. I wish I could play a slasher villain, but because it seems like it's a good way to get your aggression out too. Rowan Campbell also said that they made the dummies look so real that like it was starting to fuck with him mentally, because like the dummy for the band kid that he uses the blowtorch on, he's like what they had a wire and they would pull it back and his head would tilt back and his mouth would open up. He's like, so it looked so fucking surreal holding an actual blowtorch to this thing and just like watching it melt. He's like, it really fucks with your head. He's like, and then the doctor, when he's stabbing him with the corkscrew, he was like, it was kind of fucking with my head because, you know, it looks so fucking real. Like there's blood everywhere. There's like blood oozing out of his eyes and shit. And I'm just like, man, that sounds like fun. I'm gonna be honest. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But that's all I had written down. So any final words, Justin, on Halloween Ends?
Effects were great. Music was great.
Oh yeah, the music. I gotta say, the music, of course. John Carpenter once again.
Aside from those two lovey songs,
outside of these two like Cure wannabe, Nine Inch Nail wannabe songs, yeah, it was pretty alright. But John Carpenter's score is, as usual, phenomenal. Easily the best parts of these movies, bar none, is John Carpenter's score. Nothing gets better than those. I fucking love his scores so much. John Carpenter's so good at making music. Ooh. Oh, anyway, yeah, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
that was it.
No, that was it? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've already said pretty much everything we're going to say about it. I think...
We're not here to change people's minds. If you hate it, you hate it. If you like it, you like it.
We're just two goofy guys talking about movies that we like sometimes, and sometimes we're sleepy, like I am right now.
And I know I said crybabies about the movie, but again, if you hate it, that's you. I'm just talking, and that's how I talk.
Listen, we're angry people sometimes.
I'm naturally an ass.
Yeah, so. We're angry people sometimes. But yeah, check it out if you want. That's officially the end of Halloween for now. I shudder to think what comes next. Who knows? Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't. But I guess we'll find out one day. Whenever they decide what they're going to do. I can't wait for them to announce fucking Halloween Forever or whatever it's going to be called. But more importantly, next week we're going to start a new franchise. Now, we had y'all vote on a poll for the next franchise that we cover, and we got a tie between Hatchet and Ju-on the Grudge. So what we're going to have to do is flip a fucking coin to figure out what we're going to do. So heads will be for Hatchet because, you know, and then tails will be Ju-on. So let's see what we get. You ready, Justin?
Let's go.
Let's flip it. And let's see what we get. And it's going to be Ju-on because I got tails. So that's going to be 10 fucking episodes the way I mapped it out. So here's the breakdown. Next week, we're going to start with Ju-on the Curse and the Curse Part 2. Those are going to be one episode because both of those movies are like 70 minutes long. That's going to be that. Then we're going to tackle Ju-on the Grudge, Ju-on the Grudge 2. And then we're going to go to America to talk about The Grudge 2, and The Grudge 3. All separate episodes. Then we're going to go back to Japan and talk about Ju-on, Black Ghost and White Ghost, which will also be one episode. And then we're going to talk about Ju-on the End of the Beginning and Ju-on the Final Curse. If I can track down Blu-rays of those, we're going to talk about those, or DVDs, whatever. We're going to talk about those. And then the last one we're going to talk about is the most recent entry in the Grudge franchise, which is The Grudge from 2020, which is, from what I've heard, god-awful. But either way, I can't wait to cover it. I've never seen the Grudge films. I don't think Justin has either.
I've seen the first American one.
So he's seen the first American one. I haven't seen any of them, but I bought the collection.
That Scary Movie made about it.
Yeah, I remember that a little bit too. But that's going to be our next franchise is Ju-on. After that, the way I mapped it out, we'll probably be finishing that, accounting for one-offs in between and accounting for any potential times where I have to take a week or two to kind of get everything together. We're looking at finishing that up by mid-May to early June, hopefully, which will be perfect timing to start Friday the 13th because that's when summer is going to start. So it works out.
Yeah.
I think it works out very well. But yeah, so the next episode will be Ju-on the Curse and the Curse 2. Did you know that Ju-on the Grudge was actually the third entry in the franchise? Isn't that wacky? Isn't that crazy? Damn. These movies might be awful. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, thanks for listening. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, Apple, whatever the fuck, Amazon. I don't care. Follow us on something. We appreciate y'all. Our view count's been going up steadily from Evil Dead and Dog Soldiers. Our view count's been going up. Evil Dead Rise looks fantastic, by the way. Cannot fucking wait to watch Evil Dead Rise. Also Scream 6, but Evil Dead Rise more so. I'm more excited for Evil Dead Rise. Yeah, thanks for listening. Follow me on Twitter at Mustachio Cage. Follow Justin on Facebook on the Gore Goblins Facebook page. And once again, thanks for giving us a listen. We hope that our endless rambling had at least some semblance of value to you. Well, more my endless rambling, let's be honest, had some semblance of value to you. And we'll see you next time, hopefully next week, when we talk about Ju-on the Curse and Ju-on the Curse 2.
Yep.
So, with that, everybody say bye. Bye.